Sometimes. So if I'm like, you know what, this is really, really funny and I feel like I have to try this, then like I will do it.
Concerned, and then hopeful, and then enthusiastic, and
Yeah.
then laughter, and then happy, and then sad, and then outraged.
Yeah. So yeah, love Ethan Hawke, love Vince Staples, and then I'll say Kanye when he made Graduation.
The
Ellevan
Ellevan
Wins
Wins
podcast.
podcast.
I'm your host, Ellevan.
I'm Winnie.
And today, we...
Bum, ba, da, bum. Our next guest is one of Toronto's fastest rising stars. He's taken his comedy all over the world, playing on stages like Tokyo Comedy Bar. We'll get into that. Don't Tell. And Just for Laughs, please welcome your friend and ours, Freddy Jan.
Hello. Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Bro, you've been out here. You are a stand-up comedian. You are living the life in the snapshot of the time in the moment in Toronto as a comedian.
You're quite young. When did you start?
I started when I was like 23, 24, turning to 24. I'm 29 now.
Okay.
Yeah, so being out a little while.
Okay, I thought you were like 24. I was going to be
Yeah,
like, oh, you've done it for a year?
Got the baby face, cannot grow facial hair. Fun fact, this mustache I've been growing for 2 years.
No!
Swear to God,
It
2
looks
years.
it's really coming in.
Yeah, thank you. It's
amazing.
It's pretty thin if you're listening only.
Do you have
5
to
years.
manage it, or is that just how it stays?
You know what? It just naturally stays to this level of lusciousness. Don't have to do anything.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very easy, very low maintenance.
It's very like Usher in his first music video.
Oh, I'll take
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
I will. Anything that's related to Usher, I will take, other than the STDs. But
yeah, he must.
the crazy thing is, if I take it off, it actually does change my face. There's, I look like 2 years younger. I go down to 22. So
Wow.
Fuck yeah.
Would you have a beard if you could?
100%. I think it's like I wouldn't have
Really?
like a full beard all the time, but I think I would accessorize with what it could do. I like the idea of just being able to like even this right here.
Yeah.
If I could do that fully, would do that.
Word.
Yeah.
It helps fill out the chin, I think.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
like I'm just like sometimes you're feeling like a goatee man. I'm sure. You know what I mean? And then sometimes you're feeling clean shaven. It depends on the vibe. I'm beholden to this, the thin stash.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It is fresh, though.
Thank you.
Okay,
you,
so
for
you've
sure.
been in the game for 6 years, basically.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of a sweet spot, right? That's past all of the quitting. It's almost maybe it's that you're
No.
almost at that 7-year itch, I guess.
I
but-
know. I think that's a good way of putting it. Like I feel like it's whatever the sunk cost fallacy is. Like in this case, it's not a sunk cost fallacy. I do feel like I put in like too much time to stop. You know, but I also feel like it's like comedy is one of those cool things where it's like if you do it long enough, you will get to see progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can like talk to people who like acting or doing music for 6-7 years, and they can be at the exact same place in which they started. So that's the encouraging thing. Is just like getting to that.
I've
you know,
never thought
5
of
year,
that
6 year
before.
mark. Yeah.
Because I started in acting.
True. Yeah.
yeah.
I actually, I know there's a bit of controversy surrounding him, but I think what he said was very profound. Seinfeld said it, where it's like stand-up is one of the few things where if you do it, like there's a strong chance you will make it. If you can make it to that like
Yeah.
10, 12, 13 plus year mark, like
Yeah.
most people tend to make it.
You push past, yeah.
Exactly.
And you start to cut the shit with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you do it for long enough, like just the rush of getting on stage goes away. To
Yeah.
eventually you start I guess you're kind of actually becoming more numb is what happens. Like
Yeah, a bit.
like as the years go on, it's like, you know, you're just okay, the wow factor becomes less and you start to really think about the substance. That's why I always love to learn about like really poppin' artists doing intimate shows, because it's like they haven't lost touch with the fact that it's about sharing this idea with someone and
Yeah.
connecting on that vibe as opposed to like how you can make yourself look. And that's great too. It's part of the business.
100%. I feel like that's like the greatest arc for any sort of creative is at the beginning. I don't know if you guys have felt like this, but it's like the high of like getting your first like booked acting gig or doing stand-up or doing music. It's like, oh, okay, I'm in this world. And then the first year you get all these highs, but really you're just kind of playing house.
Yeah,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You're
Like,
figuring it out.
You think you're legit, but like, especially with stand-up, you're like, oh, I get to post on my story. I'm doing comedy. But it's like they don't realize, I'm like, okay, none of this is, the apple's fake. It's not real. You know what I mean? And then you get to a point where it's like, okay, that high goes away, but you get those moments where you get good and you're like, oh, I'm making a connection with,
Yeah.
someone, whether it's, stand-up, music, anything. And then eventually you get to that point where I think unless when you're not kind of like ruled by money, where you kind of want to do those like more intimate shows, even though you don't have to, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, making people's hearts happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like you get on stage most times now and break through and connect with people? Like, are you having that experience of fulfillment as a performer?
I'm getting the fulfillment for sure. I think like the thing that's been happening with me lately, and I don't know if you guys have been having this, is like, because I want every set to be better, I want to get better every time. Sometimes my focus on progress is actually taking me away from that moment.
From just being in the moment.
Like, or sometimes the moment happens. Like, I connect, but like in my mind, because I'm so like hell bent on like getting better, I'm like, oh, but that crowd work, moment that I had wasn't like as good as like the last one.
Oh, so you're critiquing.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly critiquing over and over and over again. Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah,
that
so
wears
you're
on
brutal
your
on your
system.
on yourself.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'll get moments though where it's like I'll take the weight of the world off my shoulders and then just get to sit in the pocket of that moment, and that is nice for sure. So it's not always like that.
Yeah.
But like even before the podcast we were talking now. Right now I'm in like a 1 month stint where I feel like every set I'm like, oh, how can I get better?
Yeah.
And that definitely can take away from it. So it's a battle.
There's periods.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I find it so challenging still to go back and watch or listen to my sets. Like I really have to like force myself to do it and then start picking apart like, yeah, exactly how to get better. I think there is a balance because it's not like, it's like I used to pick at my face. I used to, I'd spend like an hour in the morning just hormonal acne on the sides of my face, and I would just fucking pick until it made it worse. And so, like, I think that you definitely don't want to go, so far into the shithole.
Don't pick until you make it worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. But also, like, you also need to make it better.
Yeah, well, I think there's spotting, right? So it's like, you go with the acne analogy. It's like you can be like, oh, you know what? There's some acne here. I should do something about it. But then there's like the picking at it, which is like, okay, now you're obsessing over it. Now it's like you're not even focusing on everything else. So that's what I'm trying to do is like, okay, you know what? The crowd work thing wasn't as good. I'll get better because I have another set tomorrow. Yeah. Just like enjoy the moment, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. Yesterday, I went up yesterday and the day before I fucking bombed. And then yesterday was the first time I've ever gone up again the next night.
Okay, yeah.
Which was like, I bombed and for some reason, I've been bombing. It's not new. I'm handling it well, I think. But for some reason, that one hit like a nerve.
Of course, yeah.
But then also going up the next day and being like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
is so helpful.
It makes it like, I think it's like when you get those like 2 days in a row, it's almost like a subconscious reminder, like, hey, like this path isn't going to end. Like this isn't the last, you know what I mean? Like, like when you have one and then you're like, oh, when's my next booking again? Next week? It's like, well, then that's it.
Yeah.
But when you do it, even if it's like an open mic or a show, it's just in your brain, you're like, well, this is like, we're on a continuum, where it's like,
you have momentum.
Exactly.
You're going, you're moving, almost whether you like it or not.
100%.
I got a question for both of you guys. I've seen you both make crowds laugh, and that's fun. Do you know when you write a funny joke before you say it to people? Like, is it common that you write something, you're like, this is gonna work, and you bring it and it works, or you're really not sure until you say it to people? Or like, what's been the ratio of knowing or not?
Well, for me, you know what, this is, so I have a younger sister. My younger sister, I would like run 99% of my jokes by. And so, nice. Yeah, she's like sort of like the open mic before the open mic.
Shout out little sis.
Yeah, shout out Rachel. She knows she's been badgered by me a lot of times. But the reason why I do this is because I feel like my sense of humor is a lot darker than hers, but we have the same sense of humor. So if a dark joke that I like works on her, that means I've somehow like sanitized it or like made it like user friendly for everyone. And so right? And if it doesn't, then she's like, and I find it funny, I can still try it, and I've done that before, but like 80% of the time the audience will look at me the same way that she looks at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a filter system.
Exactly. But
nice.
the problem with that though, is that I have like this has been 6 years of that, right?
Yeah.
So if you asked me, like genuinely, if we went through my notes and you said like, hey, do you have like any sort of intuition, any sort of gut instinct, which one of these jokes is gonna make people laugh, which ones are not? I actually cannot tell you.
Okay.
It's like it's all gone. I don't know if you have the same thing, like if you have some sort of gut instinct, but I could not.
You just let it flow through you onto the page, comes through as an idea. You spit it out and see if it works.
Exactly, and from there we'll see. So
If it doesn't work with your sister, do you still try it on stage?
sometimes, so if I'm like, you know what, this is really really funny, and I feel like I have to try this, then like I will do it.
Okay.
And there's been a few that have worked because of that, but there have been like actually like maybe 50
Yeah.
that have like not worked when she's been
Right.
like if she chuckles, all it takes is a little bit of a chuckle, and I'm like, okay, you know what, she might not find it very funny, but at least there's something there.
Yeah.
But if she like looks at me like deadpan,
Yeah.
then that's usually meaning like I've gone like way too far off.
Because she's going to be so honest with you because she wants you to know, she wants you to succeed. Like, she loves you so much that she's willing to, like, deadpan you.
I've gotten
I
mad
think-
at her. I mean,
You can give me something.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, this is rude. You need to. I had a tough day, but she's like, it's your sister. She won't care. you
Well,
know?
that's what I was gonna say. Is like I run some things by him before I take it to stage, but a lot I don't because it's like it feels more vulnerable to say
sure.
it in front of him, someone that I love and who I would feel insane if he was like judging me
Yeah.
instead of like a group of other comics or
Yeah.
like two people on a Tuesday night, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times I won't run it by anyone. I'll say it out loud. Like I'll start to figure out where I want my like tone to be
Okay.
out loud, but then I'll try it on the audience the first time. And so often I find the first time it kills
Yeah.
and then it bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs after
Yeah.
that. And I don't know what's up with that. Like I don't know if there was something about the newness of it within me or
It's
I don't know.
something. I don't know. I've also had that where it's like I'll try something and the first time I'm like, oh, okay, this is like hitting. Like I have
Yeah.
a joke in particular that was working like the first 2-3 times I did it. And then like it's just like now like the well is dry, no one's laughing at it, and I'm like putting it in parts of my lineup because I thought it was gonna be, it's like, oh, this is the second last to the closer, bring them in. And then it's like I hit a speed bump and I'm like, what the fuck
Crickets.
just happened, you know? Like,
It's so weird.
Yeah.
That threw me off the other night too. A couple of my reg bangers were just like silent, and I was like, "This is you guys. This isn't."
But then,
me."
so I guess because like you don't bring it up to anybody, like you'll just kind of like say it on stage. Like, do you feel like you have like any sort of intuition on like which jokes you feel like? Do you ever have a moment where you're like, oh, I know this one's definitely gonna work, and it might not work every time, but like it will work? Like, you ever feel like, oh, this joke has a secret sauce, or is it kind of all random?
I think I have that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where I write a joke and I'm like, this is really a banger. But sometimes because it comes so quickly for me. It's and if I don't write it down, it's hard to get back. So I have to like find a pen or my phone immediately as it's coming.
Yeah.
And if there's an interruption in that flow, I'll like try and make it work, but it feels like more janky inside my
Yeah.
head. But I'm like, this was the concept, like we're trying to make it work. And then I'll go back to it and be like, oh, this isn't funny at all.
Yeah.
So I don't,
it's
Sometimes I'm
tough.
like, the concept is amazing, but what I've transcribed from the idea
Yeah.
down is not good.
Your extrapolation process of the idea lacks.
Well, it's also fragile, right? Because but the thing is like whatever you thought of, is probably something that is very profound and very funny. But like that's like half the battle, And now you gotta
have
like
to,
present it.
tell.
right? Now you gotta like collect and move, get like the right words and the right intonation and the right timing to like
Totally.
live up to the smart thing and the funny thing that you thought of, and that's the tough part, right? So
It's like basically instead of building a company and going public with it and selling stocks and shares, it's basically like saying, "Give me money, I have an idea."
yeah, no, exactly.
It's like I haven't done the fucking work
Yeah.
to show you what I mean.
100%.
And words are clunky. Like
Yeah.
I noticed doing mushrooms, meditating, I live in this spirit space and everything makes pure, clear sense. And I come back to human after the trip or after the meditation session or something, and I try to express myself as though like what I felt so accurately there. And it's like the words are like, kind of like somewhere between here and here, and I just can't, there's no articulation. So I think the articulation process is really what comedians specifically definitely like lyrics and songwriters, but we can hide behind the melody a bit, and there's a little more generalization. Like comedians really, it helps you guys to be super specific and to be articulate with that is like the how you're painting your canvas. But like you got a good vibe where I feel like you're being yourself on stage. Or just chatting. Like you almost calm my nerves, but also make me laugh because you got some bangers, and that's like, oh, that's good, nice turn there.
Yeah.
But like also you're being yourself, and that's good. That's like really tough. Out of all the comedy I get to watch and have watched over the years, it's like the most uncomfortable thing for an audience member is like when someone feels like they're overly presentatious, and it's like, bro. This is the bad kids club. Like stand-up comedy is like the lunchroom, not the fucking gymnasium. So like I really like that about you. Have you always been like that?
Like I feel like probably not. Like I think for a majority, or not a majority of my life, but for a long stretch of my life, yes, I have always been myself. But I feel like there's like times in like high school, middle school where it's like you're not always your authentic self. But I feel like one thing I have learned over the years is anytime I like faked it as opposed to like just went authentically me, people like the authentic version more than like whatever like contrived thing that I could produce. So like I've just sort of like brought that like, and because that's another thing is like I feel like whenever you're doing like crowd work, like what I'll do is like I'll just like lead with my curiosity.
Yes.
You know, I'll just feel like what do I want to know, and just it's even past the point of like is it funny. I just think like comedians are weird enough. I think we're weird enough that like if we follow our curiosity, it will go down a logical path that the average person wouldn't.
Totally right.
Right?
Trust your own uniqueness.
Exactly. Right. So it's like in a way, it's almost laughing at me, but it's like but it's like we're all I'm also enjoying it because I get to now ask that weird question that I thought of.
It feels like. I got the microphone now. Like the kid takes the microphone from the teacher and they're like, I just want to fucking ask the real ass shit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's so
100%. So it's like, I'll just do that. And then and the thing is what I've noticed is that even if they don't laugh, like, because like I tapped into something that was like completely individual myself, they're like, oh, well, at least that was interesting.
Exactly.
They're still entertained.
Exactly. And then I'm like, oh, okay, now like go to like the dick joke that like I wrote last week or something like that. But at least I got to say the thing that I wanted to say.
Yeah, interesting is a good one to aim for, if not funny.
Interesting is like, I feel like interesting is like you can get chastised for it, you can get bullied for it when you're younger.
Yeah.
But it's like if you have like an interesting or a fresh perspective on things, like it helps you in all things creative, whether it's music, comedy, acting. And so it's just like, that's one thing that I have just started to rely on more. I'm like, whatever I find interesting, whatever's interesting to me, go down that path, and people tend to like it.
Every green room, I so agree with you. Every green room, whether it's music or comedy I've ever been in, it's like, oh, where are all the like back row kids? Where are all the weirdos or the ones who were bullied? Or like, you know, the outcast kind of, and this is where we all get to find each other again. That's true. That's funny. Fuck. Interesting. Yeah. And also when just like delivering jokes to people, instead of always trying to get the like funny joke and get the, you know, extract the laugh from the situation, it's like, hey, why don't we all just actually think about this for a moment?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Isn't that fucked up? Like, isn't that unique, or isn't that inspiring, or like tell some sort of engaging story? I see sometimes a lot of I guess it's just more of a flat, one-dimensional approach that's like only going for the chuckle, and that's totally cool. Fucking, you know, one-liners are also a brilliant art in themselves, but deep philosophical meaning behind the conversations you're having is also like, I think, God status, like Dave Chappelle status. Like,
yeah, it's I feel like that helps, and it's like it is one of those things where it's like I don't know, like if. I don't want to say I don't know if everyone has it, because I think there's some people where it's like whatever perspective that they are bringing to the stage isn't necessarily going to be like a Dave Chappelle like level of uniqueness or even like close to that.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you do have it where it's just like, you know what, like people have said that when you get to point A to point B, either the way you got there is weird or point B in itself is like weird. Like that's something where you can like tap into that in comedy, and you can almost use it as a crutch. Just like, oh, you know what, this is a weird thing that I thought of. What do you think? And then you get like either entertainment or they find it funny, you know. Or
like they learn that story. You ever like watch a special of someone's and you just can't get that story out of your head?
Yeah,
like
1000%.
Louis C.K. saying, oh, I figured I'd grab a cinnamon bun at the airport like before before I left. That will never ever leave me. Every time I'm in an airport and I see a Cinnabon or something, I just hear Louis C.K. calling himself a fat piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because that makes me chuckle.
No. Louis C.K. was like the first stand-up like I ever really watched. Like before Louis, I think the only special I watched one Kevin Hart special when I was younger, and then I watched a Dane Cook special. Those were the only two. I knew nothing about stand-up.
Oh.
The circle one?
I think it was the circle one.
Everyone
He talks
watched
about
that
the
one.
crying.
Yes.
That was big. Remember he said sometimes you just need
In
to
the
cry.
car.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I was
yeah.
like, oh my God, a man saying he cries? Like at that time for me, that was big.
Dane Cook is like, I think, like obviously in retrospect, people are like, okay, he wasn't as like funny as maybe the fame that he got to warranted.
He blew the fuck up.
But he blew the fuck up. But the thing is, I think Dane Cook, he was being himself up there. Do you know what I mean? Talking about like the whole interesting thing. Dane Cook sold a whole stadium.
Bro, if Jim Carrey didn't become a movie star, that was the rock star nut that the world had for Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
that
true.
He went and became Liar and like stopped doing stand up, and then when Dane Cook showed up, it was like, I think the continuance of that like want for that.
People
type
like
of
to
comedy.
see people being weird. That's the thing. And if you can do it with like energy, right, and then make it funny, that's when you get like goat status.
He got that energy.
1,000%. Yeah.
So he can play.
Yeah,
he
I
can
think
play
his
in the athlete.
charisma, like in his personality, combined with his comedy, is what like super famed him. You know,
for sure.
Fuck, we'll ask him when we have him on the show.
Yeah. Invite me. I'll sit in the corner, actually. I don't even
bro. Totally, man. Is there any, like, comedian celebrities that would be in your kind of dream cipher or dream if you got to sit down with them kind of thing? Like, who would be on your top? Like, for me, I look up to Jim Carrey, Richard Pryor, and Eminem.
Okay. Oh,
That's
that's a great take.
That's who I am.
That's solid. Okay.
That's who I am.
I love that. Who I
In
am.
my
Okay.
heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is your council of... Okay,
all right. I would say that's actually so tough. Okay, I would start with. I'm a big fan of I'll put Vince Staples on there. I know he's not a comedian.
No, he's dope.
But
He's a creator.
He's really, really funny. I like his music. I think he's dope. I'm a big fan of Ethan Hawke. I don't know if you guys have seen Ethan Hawke interviews,
Fuck
but
yeah, man.
Ethan Hawke is like
He's real as fuck.
he's like the definition of a creative, in my opinion. Like
He's a great actor.
He's a
too.
great actor. Like he's in a bunch of movies that I loved. I watched an interview with him recently where he was talking about how he was telling his daughter that if you don't want to be an acting coach in Seattle at age 65, like don't get the fuck in this industry. He's like, you should be doing it because you like it, like because you love it. It doesn't matter where you end up. And obviously, like people want to become, in his daughter's situation, they have a bunch of money. So I get someone being like, well, I want to be an actor because it also makes me financially stable. But the metaphor, like the essence of it was like, you got to do this because you fucking love it.
Yeah, no matter what.
So yeah, love Ethan Hawke, love Vince Staples, and then I'll say Kanye when he made Graduation.
Let's go!
But I'll take those three. Those three people are probably me altogether, I think.
Graduation.
Wow.
That was a good one.
What a trio.
Yeah.
Were you tapped in to Kanye since College Dropout?
So I had like a weird, I guess like engagement with his music where I sort of like knew it since I was listening to it since like Graduation. And then I kind of went back and listened to it, but I became like a massive fan when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out.
Okay.
And then that's when
Devil in a Red Dress?
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. It's crazy. And so then I listened to all of his music again, and it was almost like I had like a second relationship with it, because that's when I sort of understood it. Like, because when he got canceled with the Taylor Swift thing, like that's when he was like really, really in the tabloids of like, oh, this guy's like an asshole, this sort of thing. So then I was like, let me look into like what was like the trajectory that got him there.
Yeah.
And then I started to understand like the emotional beats that were behind every album.
Well said.
And so that's when I was like, oh shit, like this is my guy. So yeah, I've been tapped in for a minute.
That College Dropout where he tells the story on the last track. Where he's just like, yeah, me and my mama happened to you. Like, oh my God, that like just it made me feel so close to him.
Yeah.
In that experience. And I was tapped in at that time. And it was my first concert I ever went to was the Late Registration tour. I was front row center and I was slapping like Kanye's
what
hand.
venue?
I was in Vancouver, so it was
okay.
General Motors Place, I think,
That's
at the time.
so dope. Oh my
and
god.
he had the strings on stage.
Yeah.
Now you're talking to a rapper with a live band. Like that impacted me. Like getting to like feel that level of rap. Like he did Roses, and they made like a hospital room on stage.
That's so dope.
And like with like white curtains, and he was on the ground. You know, he was just rapper smacking hands, and then he was just like on the ground. I know they can't give it the flowers, but can I at least give it these flowers? Like, he's just like, oh my God. It was actually blew my fucking mind, so I feel you about Kanye, man.
Yeah,
I feel
thanks,
you.
man.
That's crazy. Well done. So, Ethan Hawke, Kanye, Vince Staples.
Yeah.
That's well done.
Thank
I feel
you.
like
Appreciate
that's
it,
really
man.
accurate.
Yeah. You came with the heat, so I was like, I have to have something good, yeah.
Win,
So
what about you?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
She was hoping we wouldn't ask her.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, yeah?
You got to pick.
Like, I don't even. There's just too much.
Elizabeth Banks.
I mean, I love her. You know, but there's so many people. There's so many people
Meryl
running through my
Streep.
head. Yeah,
Meryl
like
Streep's
actors, also improvers, like SNL alumni,
Gilda Radner.
like Esther Hicks. Honestly, is
yeah.
probably in my
Beautiful.
my people. Like, it's just too much. I feel like I need to focus on one thing.
That's
my
fair.
brain, like. I'm like acting, yoga, meditation, esoteric work, comedy. Like, it's just a little intense
Can I
in
actually
here.
ask you a question about that? Like, do you find at this point that you identify more with being an actor or a comedian?
Dude,
Or is it
comedian.
comedian now,
Which
yeah?
is crazy.
Yeah.
That's not something that I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like I started comedy in 2018 because I wanted to do comedy acting. And I was like, well, this
okay.
could showcase me in a light that could potentially get me a comedy acting job.
Yeah.
And then I quit like 8 months in because that's not the right reason to start stand-up. And then I really like started it again, and it wasn't for that reason, but I still feel like when I restarted it, it was almost like I'm doing this because like acting isn't working out right now.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, holy shit, I think I'm a comedian now.
I love that.
That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Because I love acting.
Acting's hard. Acting's like it's there's something really rewarding about it. Like, cause it's like I've tried to do it over like the last like 2 years, just commercial acting for like money and stuff like that.
Yeah. We hope you're enjoying this amazing conversation with this incredible guest.
Always a dope time, but Win, what else do we have on our channel?
We have stretch-alongs where you can stretch with me and meditations.
What? And I do food videos. I cook dope recipes at home that you can make at home. And we cover local gyms.
So after this conversation that you're listening to right now, go check out some of our other videos.
Thanks for subscribing too. It's growing.
But even that, like, where it's just like it's a script for like Rice Krispies, and I have to like get into like the thought process of
Commercials ask so much of you.
Do they? Okay, because I'm like, this is hard.
So
it is
insane.
difficult. Okay.
The breakdown for commercials are like, please, like,
It's ridiculous.
like, yeah,
It's marketing
come with a
teams.
lot of
Yeah,
enthusiasm,
1000%.
but also play it grounded, and you're supposed to be anxious, but not too anxious. And you're like, this is mom number one. Like,
Yeah.
what are
Okay.
you?
It's committee writing too.
insane.
Like
Oh my
everybody
gosh.
has to be heard in the office. What about my suggestion? You
Yeah.
know? So it's like you're getting a breakdown from 14 egos at a marketing agency.
Yeah.
Given to a director who's supposed to like bring a 60-second or 30-second spot to life in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they just need someone, so they trample over your unique needs as an artist. It's not like being on a film
One
at
of
all.
the last
but
commercial-
it's thuggery. It's good to go through it because the craft will twist you in and be like,
love that.
I can
the
deliver.
Thuggery, yeah. It is so true.
One of the last commercials that I just auditioned for, they asked you to do the scene, okay, and then the second take, it was a self-tape. The second take, it was like, and now if you could just take the next minute to go through the following emotions, like on
Okay.
your face, and it was like blank, and then concerned, and then hopeful, and then enthusiastic, and then
Yeah.
laughter, and then happy, and then sad, and then outraged,
Yeah.
and then like it was like
Full
you
spectrum
want
of
me
emotion.
to go through everything in 60 seconds. This is like these are top level acting. Like,
Okay,
you know what
because
I mean?
it's all I know. It's all I know,
crazy.
and so I've like, yeah, I've like had a little bit of success just getting some of the commercials.
That's
but
great. It's nice money.
It's good money, but even then, like, it's just like I remember there was one that I did where like like on set, they just kept giving me different lines to do, and they were
Try
like
this.
wordy lines, and I had to like memorize them in the moment. And while I was doing that, I was like, oh, okay, like whatever this is, I know that now I'm seeing that that's probably not baseline of what all acting is, but I'm like, if this is what acting is, it's harder than stand-up, because they were asking me to memorize like these like 2 to 3 long lines, and then like have these certain, they're like, and then when you hit the eye here,
The
add like
beats.
a little bit of like, and it's a
Yeah.
whole crew watching me at the
I
same
know,
time, and it's
dude.
like,
That is
if
kind of
I
acting.
mess up,
Kind of.
you know, yeah, and so
It's a football team sport.
It's
yeah.
like
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
like the boring science of acting, though. Like
Yeah.
the good, juicy stuff that you can get in a film or
Yeah.
a TV show, and it doesn't always have to be like dramatic. Like comedic acting, I think, is harder in some cases than dramatic acting. But like, like commercials, they're just asking so much of you, and it's these like young directors that
Yes.
haven't gotten any jobs yet, so they're like, I'm taking this shit seriously, and like,
okay.
and you know, they just want it to be like professional, so they're like, give it to me this way, and then give it to me this way, and now do it in this line. Like they want to have options because they're new and they're just,
yeah, that makes. Do you know what it is? It's like they say like how baby rattlesnakes they produce more venom when they bite you because
Yeah.
they have no restraint. Like I feel like that's what a young director is doing.
Nailing it.
Where it's just like they're throwing everything there because it's like they have like no idea what level of effort and I guess like micromanaging it takes to put on like a good production.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
all the ones
And-
that I've done, it's super intense because it's young directors doing that.
Totally. And depending on the client, like the client, you can't just do one version of a commercial. Like you need to offer them options, because if they're like, no, this is shit, final product, then they can be like, okay, we'll come back and give you something else then,
Yeah, for
without
sure.
having to reshoot. So
Yeah.
it's,
Commercials can be great, though. I think every commercial that I booked, I had so much fun on. I did a Pirate to the Caribbean.
Yeah, you did
game
cool
commercial
commercials.
in
That's
Vancouver,
so dope.
and like I had a stuntman, and like I got to like be fucking super cool. I was like it was fire, and there was guys from Disney, and we were just like watching hilarious videos of that kid getting shot with a paintball gun on YouTube, like between the breaks. And what I've done even recently. Shout out Stephen Mann for casting me in a couple. I was just casted with Danio, the rapper, which we already know each other. So
Yeah.
it was a Taco Bell commercial. And like they gave us a trailer, but then I got in trouble for smoking weed on set, so I probably won't get hired again. But then it was just me and Danio at Taco Bell, like busting freestyle raps. Like it was
That's so fun.
hilarious. So like they can be really fun
They
too
can.
if you get the
Yeah.
right person. But it's honestly just the audition process is like dehumanizing
No, it is.
borderline.
Yeah.
You're like I did not imagine people who studied, to like act and like when he went to school and it's like this is what you're doing. You're like pause for mac and cheese. And
Yeah.
this is
and so
pretty
much
funny.
time, like if it's an in-person audition, that's your time. For a lot of, for women, like you're getting a full face of makeup on,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a big commitment
For sure.
for a 3-minute, in and out audition, or like a 30-second
Yeah,
take.
it takes you like half your
It's
day almost to
wild.
do
Yeah.
it.
No,
Anyways, that's my
Anyway,
shit on commercials.
it's
But
fun.
but they can be great, and I would like one.
No,
Honestly,
they're great.
They can pay your rent.
I've appreciated everyone that I've done.
Send them, we'll
It's-
do them.
You can travel like Vancouver. I did one in Budapest, which was like
Whoa,
cool last year. Yeah,
sick,
so it's
dude.
like they can take you
That's
cool
cool.
places. So yeah,
that's
definitely.
really cool.
They really can. And like there are dope creatives. Sometimes like the DOP, the first commercial I ever booked, I was 16. It was a Hot Pockets commercial. And the DOP was also later on, I think, a Mariana Trench music video. But
cool.
then I was also like, I fucking pushed a broom on Underworld 4. And then he was the DOP on Underworld 4.
Oh,
It's like,
damn,
damn,
okay.
like, okay, I was lead actor when I was 16. Now I'm just pushing a broom to be on this big set, but that's cool. I was like in my early 20s. But I was like, damn, like you keep in touch with people.
Yeah,
that
you
actually
do.
like keep it like shit. Like you never know who you'll meet on a commercial
Good
shoot that's
networking,
actually
yeah.
going to be valuable. And now in the age of the internet, how have you been managing this as a comedian? Because we have a lot of great comedians come on, but across the board, young or old, it's always like, yeah, but that part of the job was a bit of a blind sight. Like having to keep up with clips and social
Oh,
media
yeah.
and just like you have to understand how to frame yourself first of all.
Yeah.
So that was a skill that just like Lenny Bruce didn't have to face.
Yeah, for sure. yeah. No, it can be tough. Like even for me, I didn't know how to edit, before I got into this,
Yeah.
and so now I've like posted like clips out there, and so I had to just learn how to edit from scratch. And so what was interesting for that process was like I don't mind editing, but I have no passion for it. But now
It's that boring science part.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but I had to do the boring science so the thing that I have
Unless
passion
you love
for
it.
could shine. Oh, shout out to my editors,
Shout
though. Shout
out Benny.
No. Editors,
No,
they're
they're
doing God's work, and
perfect.
it's a beautiful art. I'm sure if you know how to do it.
I
But
think, if it's not innate.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what? I can I'll watch like YouTube videos about like the editing of movies that I really like, and I find that really interesting.
To watch a master,
You know, like talk about what they did, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's like,
Yeah.
I think there's people who love music and they just want to be in the stand. They just want to be in the stadium. They don't want to be like performing.
Right.
Yes.
I feel like that's how it is for me with editing. Like I appreciate a nicely edited video, but like if I don't have to do it, I do not want to. You know?
yeah.
So yeah, that sort of stuff, the clips, the online presence, and like just caring about like, oh, did this do well? Did this do well? You know, what
You're
didn't do
tracking
well?
analytics.
Yeah, that part can kind of be a bit taxing.
Yeah.
Fuck. I know, it's an interesting part of it.
Because it's just another level, I think, of no.
Yeah. No, so
Because
true.
there's so many no's. We were talking about this with our last guest too. There's so many no's in the business innately, like in all arts, generally speaking. Besides maybe music, like if you're a musician, I think you can, I don't know, get more yeses than.
You can love
yeah.
it. So the thing that I respect and love about all that boring work is like painful as it may be, is like it's taught me so much about myself by finding the processes about it. Not only this gateway of like, well, how much do you want to do it? Like to keep a podcast like going for this long when at the beginning I really didn't want to. And as recently Benny took it over, to be honest, a book wrestled it out of my hands. I didn't really want to let it go.
Yeah.
But like it's a part of like me focusing on like other things as well, like that we expand into. But like there is a part of editing yourself that improves your performance.
100%.
yeah.
Because
Very true.
our love is all in performance, I think. It's like, I definitely see myself as performing in the stadium. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're all like that here. Like, we all want to be like the giver, the seller, the performer. But like, even right now, I just said and I didn't realize it in person. But in editing, I would hear it and I'd be like, motherfucker, don't say
That's so true.
Like,
yeah.
you know, like that shit has helped me reflect much how like music, sitting down and doing the logic stuff and learning how to track and like mix. It's like, well, because you're not singing so good then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so if you don't want to learn how to do that, learn to sing perfectly.
For sure.
Or learn to edit it. Like
No, I've actually never thought about that. But like, yeah, when you edit anything, you have to revisit the thing that you're passionate about, and to edit properly, you're gonna have to analyze every single detail, which means you'll catch every good part and then every mistake as well.
That's right. You can ride the highs of the good part.
Yeah, you can, and I've done that before.
And let
You're
it
editing and you
educate.
just keep replaying the pop. I've done that like a
Fucking
couple
slayed
times.
that
yeah,
moment.
like can I just have the laughs in this?
Yeah.
But
You realize it's so much about the rhythm. Like when I
Yeah.
notice any clips that do well, it's like because the beats are there, the concept is there, and like the tension is there. Like any live clips that do really well, I feel like there's some sort of tension
For
and,
sure.
and the timing, and you realize it is about the lyrics. Like the perfect word sometimes, like in punctuation, will like help, but it's like about this like cultivated energy, these like beats, like, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that teaches me by editing this clip. Like what I cut out was like that open space, like stay and like, you know, it like teaches me next time, as you're saying, you hit that, you return to your passion.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When did I lose my question because I got high?
I got high. You hear that ramble I did?
Yeah, it was good. No, it was about, I think, why did you get into comedy? Because you started at 23. What were
Yeah.
you doing before then?
Who hurt you?
Oh my god. Well, that's like we have like 3 more hours left. But why did I get in? So it was kind of like something that was like planted in my. So interestingly enough, when I was in kindergarten, I remember.
You've been at it for a long time.
I know, actually, yeah. I was like 23 years, so I might say not yet. But when I was in kindergarten, this kid named Daniel, who I was like best friends with, I remember we were talking about jobs because in for kindergarten graduation, you had to say what you wanted to be. And so I said I wanted to be a motorcycle man. That's not even a job.
That's where you were at.
I think just deep down, I wanted to be independent on my own since I was like 7 years old
Motorcycle
or 4
man.
years old or whatever.
That's awesome.
But I remember Daniel being like, "No, you should do comedian. Like he's like, you should be stand-up comic." And I was in kindergarten. I remember that. And so I remember just dismissing it, but I remember that memory, which I feel like is kind of like the way to know if anything ever impacted you, is if you just remember it from when you were a kid.
Wild.
And then just never had any interest in doing stand-up. Really, I didn't even have it in that moment. I kind of was like motorcycle man or die, you know. But then I was in university in like my last year, and like I just remember like I was super hungover in the kitchen, and I was like envisioning what my life would be like in Toronto, and I was like, oh, you know, it'd be really cool if I like was able to do something like, I just had like in front of it, like stand up, and then maybe I had like some sort of like day job, and that's just kind of like what my 20s looked like. And then when I graduated, I had like a job that was just very like corporate. It wasn't something like I really like enjoyed that much. And so I was like, oh, okay, let me just try stand-up. This would be a cool thing just to make the evenings like a bit more interesting.
Bring some levity to your life.
Wow.
Exactly, yeah. And so then it kind of just, sent an email to Yuck Yucks on their amateur night.
Yeah.
And then like 3 months later, they like reached out and they were just like, hey, if you come like today, like you can do it.
They
And
had a
so-
last minute spot.
Exactly, yeah. So then I
Whoa.
was like, okay, I luckily had like some just weird thoughts written in my notes on my phone. And so like memorized them, like pacing through Nathan Phillips Square because I was like so anxious the first
Yeah,
time. I
no
don't know if you were
kidding.
the same
Of
way, but,
course, yeah.
and then yeah, we just kind of took off from there.
Dude,
Wow.
those pre-show jitters,
Oh, insane.
fucking weirdest shits in my life.
Like like taking shits, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, no, 1000%.
Like, it's
yeah,
just bizarre what happens with your system. Your body goes into some form of fear or shock or anticipation, saliva, I don't know.
it knows what's up. It knows something weird is happening.
There's going to be a big group of people versus me.
Well, especially like the first few times, like I don't know if it was like what it was like for you the first time going on stage and perform. Music, I can't actually even like imagine. Like that's like it feels. At least stand up, I was like I have to be up there for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then like it can
Yeah.
come off.
Yeah.
But like I remember like it was like true like fight or flight in the moment. If someone said you can like back out and battle like 3 gorillas at once, I'd be like I'll take that. Then go up on stage.
Totally. I was 16. It was Fairview Pub in Vancouver.
Okay.
My mom was there. I think there was like 4 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
2 people playing pool and 2 people sitting at the bar who
Love
were
it.
for sure patrons who
Yeah.
was named Gary and Mike probably.
Shout out Gary and Mike.
Yep. And I think, I didn't eat that day
Yeah.
at all. But even though, like, I didn't do stand-up in the way that y'all do stand-up where you talk and kind of philosophize, I opened it by doing a Sammy Davis Jr. impersonation singing "Oh Canada."
That's the energy you need for 4 people. You
That's
know?
what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
right?
bro.
Like,
Oh, I got one of these. You
okay.
know
All
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I always draw them in.
No, 100%.
And then I went right into Gilbert Gottfried, so it was
Love
yelling.
that. Love that.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I feel you. When do you shit your pants often in shows? Yeah.
Like the first 2 years, I would say, of my stand-up journey, like I told him, I remember this one time going up to Comedy Bar and being like, I give myself an out up until the moment I get on stage. Like my constant thought process is like, you can not do this.
Yeah.
Like you can leave, you can go home, you don't have to show up. You never need to do this again.
Yeah.
And after that hump, I'm glad that I've gotten over that now, because now I'm at the point where I'm like, you don't go out tonight. Like you've done 6 nights in a row. Like you don't, and the
Yeah.
but's part of me is like, but you could,
Yeah,
you
oh,
could
yeah,
go
that-
out tonight, and
that's
like
there,
you
yeah.
could get to see another audience and experience something new again. Like
Yeah.
I'm a little bit at that like obsessive place with it right now, which I find nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
How long did that take you to break through to that feeling of looking forward to doing it?
Looking forward, like in a weird way, it was probably like there the second time where I was like,
Sick.
oh, okay, like I kind of want to do it again, but it was just like mixed with so much like anxiety
Yeah.
Dude.
that it was like that was not like the prevailing emotion I felt. It was there though, but like what was also there was just like the dread of like doing poorly. But I don't, like it's just truthfully,
It's
like,
really a shit
That's
show,
what everyone's
right?
scared of.
Anxiety and dread.
Whenever,
Exactly.
like, everyone who doesn't do stand up is like, oh, I could never do stand up. Like, there's rarely, I mean, there is always that person that's like, I think I could do what you could do.
Yeah.
But, like, most people are like, oh, I could never do that. And that's that dread.
No,
Like,
for sure. I saw this interesting thing where they were saying like the reason why people are so like naturally afraid of public speaking is because like from like an evolutionary standpoint, it was unnatural for like a lot of people to be looking at us like on like flat ground. Like anytime that happens in like the wild, it means you're getting like hunted or you're
Or
getting
cast
kicked out,
out.
right?
Yeah.
So like our brain naturally goes like, oh, this is bad, this is wrong. And so I've like realized I'm like,
That's trippy.
it's right,
It's
it's
in
super
our
weird.
DNA to go into defense mode.
100%. And so, like, I think as a performer, like, whether it's like acting, rap, stand up, anything, you live with this low hum of anxiety
all day.
You're right, like it just like it's not for some people it's a lot, for some people it's a little, but
Nope,
it's
it's
like
me
this
down.
generator of anxiety, just kind of being like, I have this, I did this, and it just doesn't.
It's a
stop,
slow drip of
You're
adrenaline.
right?
You're
Yeah,
nailing it.
it doesn't stop.
Isn't that funny?
Slowly
eh?
killing us.
Actually, the thing that we love.
And then mix that with the mind that is just kind of programmed to find problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like dig deep, like even if everything's cool in your life, like dig deep just to like find some dirt and hold it against yourself. And like be in constant fear that like you have to get to somewhere and do something.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
fuck that fucking
No,
shit.
it's great. Like, that's why I like what you guys are doing, honestly, and just like having conversations with you guys, because I feel like a lot of people will get into stand-up, they'll get into anything creative, and then they have like that mindset where it's like they're always looking for something wrong or whatever your thing is, whatever pathology you have, and they solve it with like doing well. And
Yes.
then what they end up doing, they drink this Kool-Aid that is basically like their own, like, okay, like I'm great, you know, like it's like they're equally as insecure, but now they have this inflated ego. And I feel like you guys are just like always like talking, because you can tell the people who it's like, oh, they're working on their own shit simultaneously to doing the thing that they love. And you can like, if you have a decent intuition, you can like spot those people, especially like in stand-up. Like there's some people I'm just like, oh Jesus, okay, like I'll fake it with you, but like this is, I can tell you're gone. Like you're completely like bought into this hierarchical system that isn't real. Like we're all a bunch of not cool kids in high school.
1000%.
Right? Like
You're
just
fucking nailing
you know what I
this,
mean?
bro.
And then
You're
strangely,
nailing
like comedy has popular kids, which is like we all became funny because we weren't popular.
Oh my god.
It's like this like paradoxical thing. So it's
calling
like
us out right
Oh,
now.
bro.
no, but no, I feel
Well
like
done.
with you guys, it's like that's what I have not felt. And there's like a
Bless.
lot of people in stand up where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't feel this energy.
Yeah.
And it's because there's so much of it. I think it's like honestly what like stops a lot of people from like really getting into it. Is you-
and remaining in
Yeah.
the scene, because sometimes that toxic behavior, and even if it can come off positive, it's like really tough to, you drain your adrenals. No, like you said, like we're all geeks, so it's just like you
Right?
might as
So
well use
funny.
this opportunity to like grow or like share insights, at
Yeah.
least not fake the funk. But
yeah, 100%.
imagine all the pain on the other side of what they're not facing, though, right? So you got to have compassion for
That's-
those
no,
people.
1000%,
And you're
yeah,
kind.
yeah.
You said you go on the ride with them, basically, right? Like I'll fake it with you, but like go on the like feel those feelings, but ultimately, at least like I can't drag you down from that cloud. I don't know what's on your ground.
No, 1000%.
That's a bar.
Like not to like, well, it's like helped me because I feel like when I first started stand up, I was like, oh, like a lot of them, like I love stand up, I love stand up comedians, but like you get confronted with some assholes sometime. And then I feel like there's a lot of people who like they'll tell certain jokes on stage and people are like, oh, how did they get away with doing that? And my thing is like there's a reason we're not behaving like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's because those actions like lead to like whatever
yeah.
sort of like anger or frustration what's on the other side. So like it doesn't make me like resent stand up by any means, but it just like informs me like, oh, okay, there's certain people you should look to hang out with because they're gonna give you a certain energy. And then the rest will just, unbeknownst to themselves, be giving out the opposite.
Yeah, where you channel energy, it flows and goes, and then you ultimately attract to those people because that is your vibe.
Exactly.
So like you just get more of really what you are.
100%.
And it's just like you don't even have to beef. It's just like, okay, cool, I'll see you.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Right?
nothing wrong.
You
with
just keep it
being-
moving.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And because sometimes those beefs, they don't realize they're a lot more aligned in vibration than they realize.
100%.
Like, they're doing a dance. They're doing a dance on that lower vibration of like needing something to beef about. And when you're just
Yeah.
kind of like, I notice like people who've come through the music scene that have had tremendous success, like Daniel Caesar, like he, like we know each other, and like I watched him be young and do his thing and blossom. He just had that like drink water and mind your business vibe the whole time
Yeah,
anyone's
yeah.
seen him. And just like say with our friend JP who's been on the show, he's had tremendous. He just does his own shit.
Yeah.
Like doesn't really
Yeah.
get involved in the scene. Like I see the life force be sucked out of even some musicians just play drama. It's very
yeah, and they find it. Like I think like it's
Yeah.
a cool thing where it's like if you take like a dog that's never looked at itself in the mirror, right? If it sees a dog, it's gonna know that's a dog. It's gonna know it's similar to it, right?
Yes.
Even though like it has never even seen itself. It's like, oh, you're giving off the energy that I'm giving off.
Yes.
And I feel like people who are like, you know, at a certain frequency energy wise, it's like they can tell like, oh, the drama's here because this whatever this person's giving off, I know I can like
Match
it. Yeah.
And then, at the same time, you can be at a certain frequency. You're like, Daniel Caesar type, where it's just like you drink water, mind your business, want to have a good time, and those people find each other too, right?
I love that vibe. I think I float between the two.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Totally.
No, you know what I mean? Like, no one's a saint, Like, it's like, I think
It's a
as long as
spectrum.
you're having, like, some sort of,
Yeah, I think
oscillation
it's
between the two.
And the self-awareness of know where you're, like, putting your shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, if I'm in a foul mood, like, don't hit the function tonight. Or
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Do you meditate?
It's like I need to. I was like talking to some comedians about this. I do not meditate is honestly the short answer, but it's one of those things where like I want to get into it for sure.
Not to preach, but it will definitely like unlock further more of that goodness.
Yeah, that's
of
what
that
everyone
creativity. But you're already so grounded. I feel like I meditate to get where you're at.
I don't know. Like it took a lot to get me to where I'm at right now. I had like a whole regiment of what I was gonna eat, what I was gonna drink. So I'm in like my perfect mindset coming here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I'm
Good
genuine.
job.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm genuinely am like this though for the most part. But
Sick.
meditation is something.
Yeah,
that
I've
I do
never
like.
seen you lose your shit.
No, I don't like. I have like a thing where it's like like most people. The only people who would really say like they ever see me angry is like my family. Like I can't get.
So you take it all out on them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, right. I have a bad set. I kick open the door. Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
No, I just like I feel like it's probably something I need to tap into. But I just like a big thing for me is I've always been like. So some people are like aggressive, some people are passive aggressive. I'm like exit aggressive. So it's like if I get mad, like in my heart, I just want to leave. Like that's what I'm like. I'll take the anger somewhere, but like I just like don't want to engage. So that's why a lot of people won't see
great.
it.
Oh man, I wish more.
Do you
humans
think
had
that's
that
good?
discipline.
It's good in a certain sense. Like I've had like relationships where it can be bad,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like you get into a fight or you're like frustrated with each
Yeah.
other, and like you should be like going back and forth in a healthy way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm just like, well, I'm just like not gonna sleep over. I'm just gonna go home.
Triggers the fear of
Yeah.
abandonment in the other
Exactly,
partner.
right? So it's like it can be good in certain instances,
yeah.
but you got to be like aware of it, and sometimes
Yeah.
be like, no, you got to march forward on the battlefield and just like have it out,
So it's all a balance. Like wherever we manifest on the scale of aggressive or passive, it's like that's your character trait to like live with and unfold and like
1000%.
learn from this or figure out how to balance it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely come from the flame and like learned to value the passiveness and the calm and the peace, and like it's also just you grow. Like you get older and you just like realize stop reacting to things so much. Like,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how as we age, it's like you stop taking everything so seriously. I feel like in your like 20s, there's a lot of pressure in your 20s. Like people
100%.
fuck around in their 20s, and that's good, I think. But some people just like really just take it too fucking seriously, and then as you get older, you're like, oh. This is this whole time. Like, it's not just hard in your 20s. It's just
Yeah.
like hard this whole time, and you just either have to decide that it's going to be okay or it's not.
It's so
That's your
true.
choice.
Yeah. No, I feel like everyone, it's like, yeah, like you said, you're hard on yourself in your 20s. I feel like everyone has this thing in their mind where it's like I'm 29, and it's like, when you envision success, you envision it in your 20s.
Yeah.
When you're younger. At least for me, I never like was like, oh, whatever the end of the rainbow was, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I had it when I was like 25, 26.
Totally.
And so because of that, everyone is just like bloodthirsty for
Yeah.
whatever that success thing is, whether it's like a relationship, a job, making it in this. And so I feel like it just like, it adds to the hormones. It makes everyone like supercharged,
Dude.
right?
Totally.
Bunch
And
of
then-
22-year-olds out here.
You know what I mean? And then like, I feel like now I'm like I'm 29, like I said, I'm getting to 30, and I'm like, oh, it's not all gonna happen tomorrow. So it's like, that actually has been pretty big for me, where it's just like accepting like, all right, this is like a longer path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can get the wins, you'll get there eventually, but like it doesn't all need to like happen now.
You're getting
30
that 30
is a
clarity.
liberating
Exactly.
year.
Right? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. It was a
Love
tough one to
that.
get, but I'm getting it now.
Congrats.
Yeah,
dude.
it's like all of a sudden when you turn 30 and like all your like some of the dreams didn't come true, you're like, okay, cool. Like that's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad that I'm not a millionaire.
Exactly. We have like we have a million dreams too. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you were a millionaire, but then you didn't like have the relationship, then you'd be like, then you would be upset. You know,
Totally.
everything. There's so many.
There's always
things.
something to work towards.
Exactly, yeah.
Because we would be miserable if we had everything.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, especially the things that we want as well. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like.
Yeah, it's almost like sometimes you keep the dream slightly away from yourself just so you have something to reach at. Or at least you get to a level. Like, I'm sure there's a older version of you that would think that the you now, like, made it in some senses. But
Yeah.
then you weren't aware of the context and the peripherals and the stresses and anxieties that go along with that, so you weren't anticipating that.
Yeah.
And then as we dream into the future, it's like, yeah, like, you want to own a home, like you gotta learn about property tax. And I'm like, well, fuck, no, I don't want any of that shit.
Yeah.
I just wanna see this version of a reality, and it's like, thank God sometimes that the journey takes you step by step, because time
Yeah.
actually does move kind of slow.
Yeah.
And you're just like able to kind of steer this way, and then I think like little miracles happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Like along the way, you know, that you're like getting affirmation from like some higher sense that like the universe, you know, controls reality, or you control reality, like in tandem with the universe, and like what it serves you by what you're focusing on. I
Yeah.
think that's like undeniable,
Huge.
exciting that
Well,
because I read the books when I was younger, but then in my 30s, it's been like, oh yeah. Like
Because
really,
you've
I
lived
can
enough
move like
life
this.
now to
Exactly.
look back and be like, oh shit, that time that I thought was miserable actually led me to this, that led me to
Yeah,
that. And then
yeah.
you're like, damn, I need to start trusting.
Yeah, you gotta see the
because-
proof, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all, you're always on path, it seems.
Yeah.
Have you
Which
felt
is
like
wild.
you've had experiences like that where things have burst through the ether, like along your journey as a comedian? It's like just a handout from the universe or something.
Like in some ways, like it's like even going back to like well, like, yeah, in a lot of ways. So from a stand-up perspective, like I feel like I didn't get like a lot of success, I feel like, in stand-up when I first started. So I didn't really know much about stand-up when I got into it. When I went to did it at Yucks, I thought that's where all stand-up comedy happened. I didn't even know about open mics. I was like, I guess you just come here every week.
They've cornered
You know?
the market
Yeah.
in the general population.
I was like,
eyes.
yeah, they have
For
like a
sure.
monopoly over North America as Yucks. And so then I learned about the open mics, and I didn't even know that like networking was a thing you needed to do. So I would go to the open mic, and I would put my name on the list. I'd be like freaking like 19 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna leave. I don't want to. I'm just gonna like chill in a pizza and like listen to music or whatever. And I didn't know that the people that were going on the show, like that were doing the mics, were gonna book you on the shows.
Yeah.
So for so long, like I just like would just go to the
You
open mics.
weren't capitalizing on.
I wouldn't
the
add
most
anyone on
important-
Instagram. Like it was like I did this for like a year plus. A year. I didn't get my first book show, official first book show, until like a year and a half into stand-up comedy,
Damn.
which is like insane. And I was like, this. Like, I was like, this sucks. And like I did like a thing where like I did it and like I kind of took a break as well because I didn't enjoy it because I was doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
But
that's
then
amazing.
when it all clicked because of that, then I got all those breakthroughs that you're talking about. Like I went from like not getting booked to getting like booked all the time,
God.
you know,
Yes.
within like a day. And so that was like really comforting where I was like, oh, okay, you know, if you like, I didn't need to make it that difficult, but if you put in the time,
you show
things will
yourself
happen.
how to show up.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh God, that's
Yeah.
fun. Oh, that's good.
So are you
Congratulations.
working towards an album, or what are your thoughts on future stand-up, Freddie?
Yeah,
Special.
like so the album, I think not at the moment, not in like the short term. It's not something I'm against. Would love to have like an album. I think right now for me, a big thing is like I'm still making sense of like the economy of stand-up and like how it all works. I feel like there's so many like stepping stones that like nobody tells you about. Like when
Yeah.
it comes to like, oh, what's the best way to like get booked on this, you know, big festival? And like,
Yeah.
oh, if you want to go to the States, like what's the best way to do this? And so
Yeah.
because of that, before I like, you know, burn all the material, which is not bad. If there's people who have put specials out and like that's done like wonders for them. But for me, like I'm not in the rush. I'm not in a rush right now. And so I think for me, it's just about like getting better, building my reputation up in the industry itself and with like the gatekeepers, you know, whoever they are.
Gatekeeper.
Right? Yeah.
Book him.
So that's good. You're humble to the process of like that, or at least aware of it, and like
In a way, but then like so then like this is where it's like I don't want to make it seem like I'm like completely zen. Like what's the flip side is I'm like, oh okay, you got to the social media thing is the route to go.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like now that's where like all my like the black bile energy of ambition is like all gone there. It's
Yeah.
like need more followers, need more views,
Dude.
And
Because
so,
undeniable metrics help you almost skip certain steps.
Yeah.
Like I've like seen like people who I would call influencers when I met them at
Mm-hmm.
festivals, and then you learn like, damn, like you're actually like a whole ass musician.
Yeah.
Like behind this, but like you use social media as a tool that kind of turns you into a bebop and influencer, but then you get back to it and you hook up with someone like me and it's like, hey, let's make some dope tracks.
Yeah, for
and you
sure.
use those opportunities to benefit each other.
Yeah.
So like there's all sorts of even like, yeah, it's just like it builds this nice creative collab energy too, which is fun. Like just content in general. I think like that social media route that you're saying is like really beneficial. But sometimes also that other like elbow grease, like, you know, work, but like it can help you skip steps if like you fucking like end up selling out theaters
You know,
because
it
you have
can.
a like.
I feel like it gets tricky with social media because you're on stage and you're like really leaning into your authentic voice, right? And then when you do sketch or create characters for social media or whatever, like when it's inspired, it aligns with that authentic voice.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to like keep up with the Joneses, like if you look at content creators that are like, how I got 1 million followers in 1 month, it's like
Yeah.
I put out 17 videos a day.
Yeah, it's
and they're
crazy.
like the top quality, like best editing. You're like, I don't understand how
not
you've done this.
sustainable.
Yeah. It's
And when you're trying to work on material and like be a stand-up, it is different than a content creator that just does that for their full-time job.
For sure.
You got other things going on.
Winnie's gonna write a letter
I'm gonna write
to
it.
the
Yeah,
president of stand-up.
yeah.
please let them know.
But at the same time, like it can be like a really exciting platform also to like
Yeah,
be
what's
able
your-
to build an audience and like actually make this work. Like if you build an audience and you can sell tickets, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
sick.
What's your favorite platform to like release on or?
For me, it's Instagram just because it's
Yeah.
familiar. Like
too.
TikTok is like it's
Feels
like,
fucking weird.
well, it feels like it feels like the perfect app in the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Well
It's like you took
said.
out every like gross and like addicting thing about like Twitter, Instagram.
It's the Vegas of.
Yes.
That's where
Exactly.
it would be.
Exactly. Vegas. Yeah. TikTok
the
is the
Vegas
Vegas of social media apps.
Dude.
And it's like so I don't know. I like I try to like stay off of it just because it's so addicting. And
Yeah, it
you can
is.
get down some rabbit holes, like crazy rabbit
figure
holes.
out what you like so quick.
It's insane. Like I time travel on TikTok. Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'll go on it and then
4
like I'll look
hours.
up and I'm like, I have a son. And, you know? And I'm like, what the hell just happened?
He came in the mail from a TikTok app.
Funny. That's funny.
Right? So I like for me, I'm like doing Instagram more, and I've also noticed like just like looking at like the metrics and the analytics and stuff is that like people who tend to make it like or get big on Instagram, like you can leverage that to stand up more.
Yeah.
When it
To
comes to
sell
like selling
tickets.
tickets, so I'm like,
Yeah.
you
I
know what,
agree.
whatever. Like I'll just do it that way.
It's also tracking kind of the millennials and the disposable income because the Gen
There we
Zs
go.
are on TikTok.
That's
It's
true.
like you're not gonna pay $25 to come see me like
No.
you're 18 years old.
Yeah, but
and
no.
you're not gonna leave your house. Your friends are gonna bring like fucking fuego over and anyway.
Yeah.
But then it's like you want like that 30 to 40 kind of
They're
like
there. They're on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want to do things.
yeah. That's true, man. It really can help. Fuck yeah.
Damn. This has been fun.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too, man. It's like I'm sad it's over. I'm
I feel
realizing
like-
that it's close to being over.
Yeah. It's been nice to like get to know you a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
No,
nice hang,
likewise,
bro.
actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys
dude,
are great
appreciate you two,
conversationalists. I
man.
appreciate you guys having me.
Bam.
Yeah, man. What's the next move for you? Or like, where can people find you? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Instagram. They can find me
There
on
you go.
Instagram, Freddy Jan 17.
We'll put that below.
Yeah, there we go. It's right here, I think. And then honestly, yeah, you can find me at Instagram. I don't even find my TikTok. Don't reward that part of my brain, so don't follow me. But yeah, Instagram is kind of where I'd be at.
Say,
Nice. Me too.
what does the algorithm naturally feed you on Instagram or TikTok?
Oh my God. Okay. It's different things. So on Instagram, I get like a lot of like, I get like very like, just really like dark dark memes, like not like dark and like. Actually, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, there's one. So Cliff Knight is shout out Cliff Knight. Me and him, the algorithm gives us the same insanely crazy Instagram page. I don't really know how to explain it. It's more just very dark humor. So I get a ton of that. And then on TikTok, it's like all politics, conspiracy theories.
Sick.
Yeah,
Like,
I get a lot of conspiracy too.
And it's to the point now where I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the likes and I'm like, it's either these are a conspiracy, or I am like just like so far down like a rabbit hole that like I need to get out of it.
You know what I think about those situations is humans don't realize that we're part spirit and part animal. So what we focus on, we manifest. We're broadcasters and receivers.
True.
We're creating. So the more that the stories get inflated, like a conspiracy theorist, a right would call it the truth in 6 months, and a left would call it, mind warfare or something. And then it doesn't matter what you're saying about it, you're talking about it.
Yeah,
so
it's
chances
true.
are, if it's not exactly that, it will manifest some way.
Some way, yeah. It's true.
It's like we're creating, man. But
Are you religious?
Not really. Like, I grew up going to church, and then when I was like 13, my mom was like, hey, if you don't have, like, she was still expecting me to be religious, but she's like, you don't have to go to church with us if you don't want to. And I was like, whoa.
Shout out, Mom.
Yeah.
What?
So I was like, okay.
That's such nice freedom.
yeah.
It was, yeah. But I feel like I don't know, like, if you guys grew up religious, but it's, it never leaves you. So it's like, I feel like if I had, like, not gone to church, I would have grown up an atheist.
Like Catholic or Christian? Like kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. So Catholic, yeah. But so I feel like if I had not gone to church when I was younger, just by natural disposition would have led me to atheism.
Yeah.
But because I went to church, I settled at like being agnostic. So that's like kind of like my middle ground. And then depending on what type of day I have, I'm either closer to one side or the other.
Sometimes we're more inspired by the spirit than others.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like ultimately you can feel some sort of vibration from the earth and trees. I think that's the nicest thing. I've just been like, whoa, what's that energy?
There's something. Well, it's like like I've always said this, like before like we had any of this stuff, it's like all we had was like our instincts and our feeling of energy. You know what I mean? So it's like like animals like do crazy things based off of that.
Yeah.
So it's there. Like what that is like we don't know.
It's almost unmeasurable.
Exactly.
Like quantum physics in 50 years may explain it or whatever it will be called then. But yeah, maybe.
This whole thing is absolutely insane. There was dinosaurs.
Yeah, like,
there's
look
been ice
behind us.
ages.
Like
this is crazy.
right?
This is insane.
Yeah.
This can't just come from nowhere.
100%. So
We're stardust. We're all stardust.
exactly.
Crazy.
So what that thing is, like that's the mystery. But I'm just like, there is something there that we can all
it's gotta
feel.
be.
You know?
And I think that's cool because like labels are what ends up starting arguments and like starting wars when humans are still reacting from that animal place. So it's like
Exactly,
it's
right?
a nice place just to be.
Yeah, just chill.
What about aliens?
Oh, sold on aliens, 100%. Yeah,
Yes,
I like,
1000%.
I can't even like, I'm so open. Like, if someone's just like, I'm this religion, I'm like, whatever. Like, not whatever, but I'm like, I accept all. But if someone says like, I don't believe in aliens, like, I will become ignorant with you. Like, I'm just like, present an argument to me how this doesn't.
It's so
like
obvious.
I don't
the
get
grays.
the stance. Yeah.
Like all the stories, it's just obvious.
Yeah, I just like it's just like there's if you subscribe to the fact that there's like at least one more galaxy, you know what I mean? Like then there's
Galactic
probably
Federation.
something. That one, I think so. I saw a very cool video about the Fermi paradox. I don't know if you guys know the Fermi paradox.
I'm not familiar.
So it's like basically the Fermi paradox is, I forget his first name, but it was like an Italian, I think physicist who
Fucking wops.
basically said, right, exactly, yeah. But he was like, oh, like if the universe is so big, there's so many opportunities for alien life. Like how come aliens have not like come to Earth yet? We would have seen if
They're here.
It was as big as it is, and so that was the Fermi paradox. But then like basically, and so a lot of people will use that as to like, oh, why don't aliens exist? Because the answer from the paradox was to be, oh, they don't. But then the response to that is, which I think is like kind of like more prevalent in the scientific community now, is that like, well, we could have missed the point where the Galactic Federation, if we want to use that word, like came to us. So it's not that like aliens don't exist. We've just been civilized for such a small window of time.
We're only 13,000
You know
years
what I mean?
old.
Like
This bitch has been around and
Exactly.
will be around
Like,
way past
the
us.
car could have driven past, and while it drove past, like we were single cell organisms.
It's
Right.
well
and then by
said.
the time it like came back, who knows what we look like.
And
so.
that's the easiest, obvious point to justify aliens with the technology of how they put the pyramids together and what they were. Like being power plants or generating like through the water leverage underneath them. They had like gold on them to like bring in heat from the sun. They knew
It
how to
also feels
leverage
like the
nature.
media is slowly getting like our mass consciousness
Comfortable.
like
100%.
comfortable with the idea.
If you look at
100%.
Netflix, they'll see how they're programming people, like what the next wave of like what they're gonna show you here in entertainment will soon be followed by your news.
We're getting warmed up for something.
Men in Black.
100%. You know what? Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take
Sick.
it.
Oh man, fuck. Well,
Oh,
that was
man.
fun.
Yeah.
I love the conspiracy theory talk.
Little reprise from the original Goodbye.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Tell a friend, subscribe, follow Freddy. Bless
And
yourselves and others.
Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.